Those are the only words that I can understand.
But it's like a woman in a nightgown and robe or something.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's been forcibly thrown down a street. She's
one of the 86
bouncing.
teenagers a week.
Bounce down a street? Is that what they're warning us about?
Hey, Maniacs! Midsomer Maniacs is a recap podcast dedicated to the ITV series Midsomer Murders. Each week, we dig into the episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhem, the loonies, and everything else we love. I'm Mark.
I guess that makes me Sarah.
Yes, it
does. Just by process of elimination.
And welcome to the show. We're a bit loony already
I
today.
am slap happy today.
Yep.
I'm just going to say that, put that right out there.
Just a warning, if you let your kids watch the show, they can listen to the podcast. But if going online and pretending to be other people.
What, to date some guy named Sonny Boy?
Sonny Boy. How did they pick that person?
Oh, geez. He's done a lot of work, though, as an actor.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't picked up already, we're talking about Season 12, Episode 7, The Great and the Good.
Episode 73. I can't believe it's 73.
I can't believe that this is another Badger's Drift episode. This time, Badgers has an apostrophe.
Yes, I did notice that.
They need to make up their mind. Does the drift belong to the Badgers or not? The going back and the forth is making this English major irritated.
We got a couple of things off the front, though.
Yes.
We want to send some shout outs to a couple of people. One, Ben Sorensen in Australia, who sounds like a heck of a guy. He runs a trivia night.
He listens to our podcast. Of course he's heck of a guy.
That's true. He does voiceover work and runs a pub trivia night, and seems
fun.
Seems like a super fun guy. He invited us there. Like, yeah, thanks, Australia. We can't go outside. You have crowds of 30,000 people.
Because they're smart and isolated.
It says on his Twitter profile that he's voiceover guy. He writes columns, but he's unable to leap tall buildings.
Oh. So there's one thing he can't do, but everything else he can do.
Someone else who shouted us out this week is Clarabelle A. Ortega, and I followed up on her. She is an incredible young woman.
Thanks, Clarabelle.
She is a YA author. She does young adult author stuff, and her latest book is called Ghost Squad, which is about girls of color doing ghost hunting. I'm like,
wait a minute.
I am familiar with this genre.
That sounds like your comic in a parallel universe.
Yes.
You guys have lots in common.
Yep. So if you don't know, well, we haven't talked about it. I did a Kickstarter 2 years ago now. I can't believe it's 2 years ago.
Wow.
To do a comic called Spirit with an amazing artist from Fort Wayne. And
whose name is Melissa
Capriglione.
I leave you to pronounce her last name every time. Anyway.
And we successfully Kickstarted a comic about young girls who are ghost hunters.
Yeah.
So
it's super cool.
Yeah. So she has a new book coming out about witches this year.
There was another Twitter thing that happened this week, though.
Yeah, that overshadowed everything. We found out from the Northern Echo that a wee boy in England,
a guy you might have heard of, named Stephen
Fry, has been drinking pints and pints of oat milk and watching old TV series such as Midsomer Murders. So I got on the intertubes right away, tickety-tickety, some of you may have noticed, and called out Mr. Fry and said, if you're so into watching old television shows like Midsomer Murders, you should be listening to this podcast.
Yes.
I made a little self-effacing joke and offered for him to be on the radio show, on the podcast.
We're an old-time radio show.
Yep. So, Mr. Fry, first of all, if you're listening, you're awesome. And second of all, you are welcome on the show at any time. But we want to engage the Midsomer Maniac Army.
Yes, to amplify this message so that he might notice it. Because, one tweet at him, I'm sure he gets lots of ats every single day. So,
yeah. So
like it, retweet it, reply to it.
Send your
if you
own
want
message to Steven that says,
maybe we can at least get him to mention the podcast. Listen to one episode.
I don't think there's enough of you to cause actual harassment.
No.
But if he actually notices, I may squee really loud.
Yes, like a schoolgirl excited about a boy band.
Indeed. The great and the good. Two things that this episode is not.
I have an alternative title for this episode, and it's going to introduce a new occasional segment to the show called Sarah's Plot Hole Corner.
Oh, okay.
Because, wow, this episode's full of plot holes. The other way you can see it is that the writer of the episode, who is
David Hoskins,
was doing us a favor by leaving little areas of the mystery unexplained so that we could figure them out. That's the nice way of putting it.
You know, you get a sense in this episode that this is just a vehicle for the woman playing Connie Bishop,
Nancy Carroll,
to get on television.
To be in her slinky pajamas and scream a lot.
Okay.
She's a good actress.
I got to tell you.
She plays Lady Felicia in Father Brown, and she's great.
And we've talked about this before, how seemingly unattractive women to us are fawned over in this show.
Yeah.
She's a great actress. I have she is unattractive to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think she's beautiful. She's skinny.
I can see that
she needs a sandwich.
I can see that she has traditional beauty characteristics.
Maybe it's her mysterious wealth that they're after.
Oh, well, I don't.
We're going to get there.
Yep.
Tell us about when it aired and when it was
filmed in March and April 2009, which must have been cold. Mm-hmm. There's definite cold parts in this show. Broadcast date was the 14th of April 2010 and had 6.97 million viewers.
Okay.
It's set in Badger's Drift, and the pub is not aptly named.
It's the Black Swan.
Because if it was aptly named, it would be
the Screaming School Teacher.
The Screaming School Teacher.
I think it would be the Screaming School Teacher, and have a picture of her like doing the scream thing from the Munch painting.
Yeah.
Going like, oh!
My very first note. Oh, the screaming. Now we have to continue that on. At the beginning, in the cold opening of every Father Brown, the new version, Volume 2,
yes,
the retcon of Father Brown.
Yeah.
She ends 95% of the cold open screaming when they find a body.
Yes.
And they make fun of it in the later seasons.
Yes, they
and
do.
Stuff like that.
She's good at it.
But she's got a set of pipes on her.
All I know is that... Okay, so here's the conceit, right? She lives alone in a cottage right on the village square, right on the green, surrounded by lots of other people.
Yes.
She wakes up in the night. She hears a sound that sounds like somebody coming up the stairs in her home. And so her first thought is to hang out the window and scream for help.
Which, I understand a single woman alone in a house has these fears. Mm-hmm. And they are completely legitimate. Mm-hmm. And
having just watched the Night Stalker documentary, yeah. You have those fears. So you also have a cricket bat or a big dog named Mongo. Oh, no, she has that.
Mongo is the worst dog.
No, he's not a good guard dog.
He's a wonderful dog, but
seems
he's
overly
the
friendly.
Worst guard dog. But
screaming is not going to get him caught. No. I think the best case scenario is he would run out of the house. I'm just going to gloss over it. It doesn't make any sense to me. That's why she does that, but it doesn't matter. But what does matter is a bunch of men come to her aid.
Yes. So
the Four Stooges.
Couple of things before the Four Stooges get there. Imogen falls out of the attic. Did you notice that?
I don't know where she's been.
I don't know what she's doing or where she's been, but she literally falls out of the attic.
Imogen is problematic. Imogen Stroud, who runs the grocery and post office.
And then with the continuation of this show's love for American books, did you see what her mother, who is the most angelic human being ever?
Mrs. Stroud?
Yes.
What is she reading? What is it?
She's reading Secret History, which is a Donna Tartt book about academics in a Vermont liberal arts school.
Oh.
Do you know this book?
No.
Oh, it's a super good book. I don't want to give anything away, but it's about academia. It was the first book I read that I was like, oh, they got academia kind of right here. And second of all, I have no idea how this is going to end.
So it's a fiction.
Yeah, it's a fiction book. So
yeah, so we get the Stroud's mother and daughter. Mom doesn't even get a name. She's just Mrs. Stroud.
Who is the nicest person?
Her daughter, Imogen.
So nice. Vince from the Black Swan arrives. Justin arrives.
So Vince is the pub landlord.
Yes.
Justin, the sculptor.
He's a local artist.
Lawrence, the handyman.
Yes.
And then
Jim,
who is the head of the village council.
Yes. Really, this collection of 4 guys who come and save her at the beginning is the worst. Like, half of them die.
Yes.
So it's a bad group to be in.
And Vince points that out later. Anybody associated with Connie gets their throat slit, so you might want to keep your distance. Because 2 of them do indeed get their throat slit.
Connie, that's her name, right? Okay. Connie is reading Love for Lydia, a semi-autobiographical novel written by British author H.E. Bates, first published in 1952.
Okay, I gotta be honest. I don't care about the cold opening.
No.
It's the next day that's important to me.
Oh, all that you're supposed to get from the cold opening is that she's upset.
And she might be hysterical and making it up. People doubt that she's actually been threatened. I think we're supposed to get the impression this has happened before.
And that there's a weird relationship between her and the people in town, especially the men.
She's kind of an outsider in some way.
And then it's daytime, so it's sunny. While if it's nighttime, it's rainy.
Right.
That's
how it is.
The entire episode is like that.
That's how weather is.
No,
Don't you know that?
That's not how weather is.
Okay. The next day, we visit Connie at school. Tom, Barnaby, and Jones are going to go debrief her. And you're going to stop me and back me up. What?
The poster in the cop shop. We have to talk about that poster.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Tom has been somewhere and gotten some coffee and sandwiches.
Yes. And they're walking into the office to
office.
work.
And there's the typical posters. There's one for bombs.
Yes.
Right? But there is another one that we have struggled with all week.
It's on the inside of the front door of the building. Like you see it right away as soon as they come into the doors.
Put a picture of this in the show notes.
Yep.
It's of a woman sort of
Freeze
framing, tumbling into the street. It says on the poster the following things.
Okay.
86 teenagers a week.
Okay.
And given the road to. Those are the only words that I can understand.
But it's like a woman in a nightgown and robe or something. Yeah. And she looks like she's been forcibly thrown down a street. She's
one of the 86
bouncing.
teenagers a week.
Bounce down a street? Is that what they're warning us about? Watch out for pajama-wearing bouncing teenagers.
Better watch out or I'll give you the road.
In your nightie.
Did you notice on top of one of the file cabinets, there was a big roll of crime scene tape?
No.
We're in the cop shop.
Well, yeah, they need that.
They would have it somewhere else.
Well, you may as well have it handy. Okay. Now can we go to school, please?
Now we go to school.
Okay. So they need to go see Connie because though they don't think there's anything really going on, it's worthy of checking out, right? And then they find out she's a pretty lady. So Tom, he says, we want to keep an open mind, right?
I'm going to stop you again.
What?
They sit down to eat their sandwiches in the cop shop. And I told you about this, but I forgot about this. Behind them is the current investigations board.
Yes.
Okay. Did you read that?
No, because I knew you would.
Oh, my God.
Why would I waste my time?
Number one listed under current investigations. Missing cat. Somewhere on Scandaret Road, a black and white with red collar and a name tag, on the 19th of March, Mrs. Arundel lost her cat. Then
put it on the big board.
Then squatters is there, underlined twice with pictures of buildings.
Damn squatters.
And vandalism is also pictured. There are 3 youths they're looking for. They were reported by Emily Roberts on January 9th at 11:30. Timesheets are are expected promptly
There's always something about timesheets on the
at
big
10
board.
a.m.
So what we know now is that this cat
Yeah.
has gotten out of the house
Yes.
to go squat in some abandoned buildings and spray paint some graffiti.
Yep.
What a bad cat.
It is that is the extent of the current investigations at Midsomer. So I think they may, like, sure, she's a pretty lady, but they don't have a lot
They're
else
kind
to
of
do.
bored. They don't want to go look for the cat. When we're at the school for the first time, talking to Connie,
Yes.
we get the first of the giant plot holes.
Okay.
Are you ready?
So what we're going to do.
Welcome to Sarah's Plot Hole Corner. I'll present the plot hole and Mark will have to explain it.
Yes. Okay. I'm ready.
Who donated the building that houses the school?
Okay.
What does she say? Connie says the name of the person who donated the building.
Does she say Counselor Hanley donated?
Nope.
Who does she say donated?
Howard Frobisher. Who is Howard Frobisher?
Okay. So we did investigations into Frobisher, and of course, both of us came up with Sir Martin Frobisher.
No. You're not getting the point here of this plot hole.
Yeah.
Howard Richardson donated the building.
Not Frobisher.
No,
Then
that's the
why
whole
does-
plot of the episode is that he donated the building and he wants it back to get the money out of it.
Then why does she say it's Howard Frobisher?
I don't know.
Okay.
That is a problem.
Okay.
It's his whole motive.
Okay.
And it's Frobisher night. Who is Frobisher?
Okay. I'll explain.
Oh, you think you got this?
Yeah.
You think Howard married Zuki and took her last name? Is that what you think?
No. Okay.
Because I'm not buying that one. That's the only one I could come up with. Is that he used to be Frobisher, but then he married Zuki because she's awesome and said, you're so wonderful. I'm going to give up my last name and take yours.
We will deal with Zuki.
Okay.
So the problem you have is that she names Harold Frobisher,
Howard
Frobisher, as the benefactor. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, she is also the head of the Frobisher Night Committee. Mm-hmm. She has had a bad night. Mm-hmm. Okay? She's been upset. The police have been called. You know,
so your explanation is that she's discombobulated and gets the name wrong?
Okay, can you wait till I explain?
Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
Let's see if you can get out of Sarah's plot hole corner.
So she's had a rough night. She goes to the meeting and starts to cry right away, right? So obviously, end of her rope and tether. So she just got the words mixed up because she's involved with the Frobisher night stuff. It's on her mind. And she's involved with the school stuff. It's on her mind. And she just got her words mixed up.
Okay, but she says his name several times and says Frobisher every time in that conversation.
Okay, that she's upset.
I'll let you have it, I guess.
She's got to change all the locks on her
It
doors.
makes the episode make no sense at all.
It does. I do agree with that.
Nor do we ever get an explanation of who Frobisher actually is.
No.
Who is this person who we've named a night after that we hold every year as a fundraiser?
Somewhere in England, somebody's looking at all the weird searches people do of England things. Mm-hmm. And in Bloomington, Indiana, the two of us probably searched for Frobisher night 10 times this week. And it is not a thing.
No. There's no
all searches come back to this episode.
Yeah, there's no big philanthropist in the UK named Frobisher in history or anything like that.
No.
The last name just means furbisher, which is somebody who polished armor in the 10th century.
Yep.
It doesn't mean anything. But now here's another way out of the corner that is, I think, more interesting.
Okay.
If she is indeed wrong, and it should be Richardson, which we know it should be, Howard Richardson, then maybe it should be Richardson Night instead of Frobisher Night, in which case Zuki is completely justified in taking it over because it is named after her husband.
But she would have been taking it over. Like, you get the sense that they just moved to the village a few years ago.
No, because he donated the building, what did they say, back in the 60s?
Oh, he did?
60 years ago?
Oh.
30 years ago? It's been a bit. No, I think he just recently married Zuki because they call her a trophy wife.
Yeah, they
I think
do.
she may be new, but he's not.
Wait a minute.
They're like
what
the same
kind of
age.
sick participation trophy is that?
If that's your idea of a trophy wife, give the trophy back because Zuki's awful.
Zuki is a fantastic character and a horrible human being.
3 times in my notes, I have the line, "Can I slap Zuki yet?" Because I really want to slap her.
You know, Zuki has a job, right?
No.
Yeah, she works for the gaslighting company.
Oh, you're so funny.
Because that's all she does.
That's all she does.
Something must be causing those nightmares. No one said anything about nightmare.
No. All right. So I'll give you that maybe you got out of the first plot hole corner. But there's another one coming up, and I don't think you're going to be able to get out of it.
Okay. Well, the village hall, you don't even go in it.
Oh, no.
The roof is leaking. The heating's kaput. We're at Zuki's house.
You know, Badger's Drift, we've said many times, a lot of bad things have happened here. I'm not surprised that the village is on the decline.
It's certainly not winning Village of the Year award.
Would you want to live there?
No.
Get out.
So we have a meeting of the Frobisher Night Committee, which appears to have every woman in the village on it.
Yes,
except for Imogen. Imogen's not there. She's clickety-clacking with
she's on
Randy
the internet.
Boy or whatever.
Finding Sunny Boy and running the grocery store.
Yep.
Imogen's got other things to do.
Yes. So we did find Sir Martin Frobisher, who I learned about in school, and I bet you didn't.
No.
Yes, because he's a Canadian. Well, he's not Canadian, but he explored Canada. So that's why I know about Frobisher, right? He was trying to find Northwest Passage and ended up finding Baffin Island, which
Yay, Baffin Island. Awesome. Congratulations.
It's like Greenland, but less green than Greenland.
And smaller?
It's smaller. It's kind of tilted. They have Frobisher Bay there.
So the whole idea of Frobisher Night is it's a fundraiser. So they have a silent auction to raise money for various village causes, right? To fix up the village hall, to invest in the school. And it sounds to me like the council kind of decides how to allocate the money, but it's their big fundraiser, and it's the big to-do of the year for the people who live in the village.
Yes.
And Connie is the chair of the committee.
Yes.
But Zuki has decided, because she's a biatch, to take it over and get the right kind of people.
Which means...
And this is where I think the title comes in, because I think Zuki thinks of the right kind of people as being the great and the good of the wealthy people who can afford to bid big.
Yeah, great and good is it's a Bible quote.
Yeah.
Or it's a hymn quote. It's one of those two. But she wants to make serious money. What she really wants is serious attention.
Yeah, she wants to take it over.
And everybody knows this.
I'm amazed that she ever tolerated somebody else being in charge. Like the prior year, how did she put up with that? You know, like I just can't imagine her not being in charge of everything. She clearly thinks that she should be. And she's got this sidekick, Jane Menzies.
Yep.
Who the two of them remind me of the dogs in the cartoon where there's like a big dog who's real mean and a little dog who's like, yeah, boss, yeah.
Yeah, totally
Jane
like that.
is that flunky sidekick. But I don't think she's not as bad as Zuki, but she doesn't step in or correct her or disagree with her ever. So.
No, she just goes with the flow. When Barnaby shows up, she's like, oh, I guess Barnaby's here. Mm-hmm. You might think that the video interaction between Imogen
and Sunny Boy
is uncomfortable. But I got to tell you, the most uncomfortable scene in this show for me was when Zuki implied sexual favors to get money out of her husband.
Oh, she's so gross.
Oh, first of all,
only 2 thou, honey, and you know I'll be appreciative. And
Yeah.
she makes her fake pouty face, and I just want to slap her.
oh, just upsetting.
I actually think he likes her, though. I think Howard actually likes his wife. I don't know why.
Well, given what happens at the end when he says she's not involved in any way,
Yeah.
I think he loves her.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But he also is like, but you're going to be homeless with a bunch of debt. See ya.
There is that.
So then we get to meet Jim Henley, who is the head of the village council. And he and Howard together have the most fantastic old man eyebrows.
The two of them, their eyebrows Like, it's,
Like, can they be in the same room together without their eyebrows getting tangled up with one another?
I don't know, but they speak through each other's eyebrows antenna. Like,
They remind me of that guy in Dune, in the David Lynch Dune movie, the Harkonnen helper guy who's got the great big eyebrows that like blend into his hairline.
Dean Stockwell plays that character. Yeah.
He's got the giant eyebrows.
Yeah.
They both got them. So every time I see an old man, and I mean like over 70 or 80 on TV, who's got great big eyebrows like that, I always wonder, like, does nobody love them? Does nobody say, honey, let's trim those?
Because I'm like paranoid.
Let's
about
get
mine.
those under control.
Yeah.
Because it's obvious they're not doing anything about them.
No.
So either they're embracing them, like, no, we can't cut my eyebrows. I like them this way. Or they're oblivious.
Yeah.
So I went down the Google trail of what is the deal with older guys' eyebrows and why don't they trim them? Like, is there a thing? Is it a style thing? Is it a pride thing? It might be a pride thing because once men get over 70 or so, their testosterone levels actually go up. So your eyebrows are one of the things that grow really fast and you get these lush, big eyebrows as an older guy. So maybe it's like, I'm losing the hair on my head, but I've got these great eyebrows, so I'm going to keep them. I don't know. But there's one man who thinks he has a theory.
Yeah. I'm sorry you went to his website.
I did. Actually, he wrote an article for the Claremont Sun. Claremont's in Ohio, back in 2011. Oh, man. You know, this episode...
We do the work for
This
you.
episode has a kind of thin plot in places. So you fill those gaps with interesting background information and theories about why old men have untended eyebrows.
What is his theory?
I will read this passage to you.
Okay.
This is from the Claremont Sun, April 5th, 2011. I have come up with a theory about the eyebrows. Okay. Have you ever seen a yard full of dandelions? A few dandelions in a well-manicured lawn are obnoxious, but a yard full of dandelions can be beautiful. Long, bushy eyebrows are like dandelions. If you leave them alone, you'll eventually have a nice furrow of bushy eyebrows, and people passing by will remark on how beautiful they are, just like a field of dandelions.
No.
He also thinks that
Was there a picture of this dude? Because he's got the big one.
No, he didn't have bushy eyebrows. He also has a theory that big bushy eyebrows are a sign of wisdom. He says, I admit my theory is based solely on observation rather than on empirical research using old lab rats, but there are more than enough real-life examples to support my bushy eyebrows' great wisdom theory.
No, I'm sorry. I disagree.
You're not buying it?
Nope.
Okay, they're not dandelions and they're not a sign of wisdom. They're just a style statement. They're a flex. Look at my eyebrows. Fear me. I'm on the council.
The thing I don't know is how Imogen can use her computer and that window close sound happens every time she closes a window.
There's a lot of technology plays a strange role in this episode, right? So we've got Imogen on her computer. We've got DC Stevens with her magic gizmos. We've got the weird software that plays the sound. I mean, there's all kinds of webcams remotely controlled by smartphones.
We are leaving the technology of Imogen apart from that. Because Imogen's technology is the most realistic in this episode.
Yeah.
The other magic Bluetooth wireless funkadoodle technology at the end, I will speak of. But right now, Imogen's computer just makes a weird sound when she closes the window.
She definitely likes to take off her glasses to magically become a different person.
Oh, well, when she sees Ben in the grocery store, she is like all over him like wheat on toast.
But she doesn't realize that when she's not wearing her glasses, she's squinty and less attractive.
So squinty.
I'm kind of bi and I'm kind of hetero and I'm just kind of awesome. Oh, honey.
And her mother, who is the most angelic woman on the planet, doesn't freak out. She just goes, you need to get out more.
Yeah.
And just lets her be her.
Yeah. I know. You're in the Mrs. Stroud fan club.
Well, she helps everybody.
She's a nice person.
She's super nice. She listens.
What does that say about this episode that is notable? There's a nice person in this episode.
Yeah. Then there's that weird scene So if you're directing a Midsomer, you got to put your stamp on it.
Yeah.
I'm always reminded of the shot in Picture for Murder, the long shot.
The long sweeping crane shot.
Which
yeah.
I don't think we have seen anything like that. There's a weird dream sequency, sleepy thing.
With the little kids making the faces?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's weird. Do the people who make Midsomer hate small children?
I don't know, but if that's the worst nightmare you have, it's not bad. It's just kids making faces and getting kind of bulgy.
Yeah.
Bulgy kid faces. The other thing, oh my gosh, we got to back up.
Okay.
When we were talking about the school and about the...
We did not cover Justin's giant yellow ball. So outside the school,
there's a building that's like semi-attached because all these buildings are like crammed up against each other.
Yep.
So where the parking lot is for the school, in front of the building that's immediately next to the school, there is a pile of giant yellow balls. They're not school balls. They're not play balls.
No, they look like boys.
Or concrete.
Yeah.
They're yellow.
And
you think they're Justin's, but I don't
they're
think Justin lived next door to the school. He can't.
He's right next door. He looks out the window at her.
But it can't work that. No, the geography is just wrong.
No, I think his studio is next door.
But he lives somewhere else? He's so broke he had to sell his house, but he has a studio and a house?
We're not covering how broke or not broke these people are. Because... how is he making any money making those crap sculptures anyway? His work is not very good.
Except for the giant horse.
Yes, the horse is good.
There's a big horse
but
right
he
in the
has
middle of the
stuff
studio
outside the front door.
Yeah.
So I think the balls are his because of that. Plus, I like saying Justin's giant yellow ball.
Okay, well, Jim Henley's dead. Hanley is dead. His throat's been slit. In
She
Connie's
does the
backyard.
She does the whole "I'm upset at night" thing again, and everybody comes running. Really, it should be the blonde that cries wolf episode.
Yeah,
and everyone comes running again, and then they're like it's not Jones, it's what's her name, Stevens, who says there's something over here.
Yeah.
Which is a dead body.
Look at this. Yeah, because the first night, Connie is beside herself with fear. But the second night, she's so over it that she just leaves the back door standing open.
Oh,
What are you thinking, lady? So what we don't know at that point is that Howard and Jim are walking to the house via the backyard, I guess. And... Howard spontaneously slits Jim's throat.
Did you notice in the recreation, it's dry as a bone, and in that night, it's pouring rain?
Yeah, because I worried about the dog getting too wet. Oh. I was sad for Mongo.
Poor Mongo. That's a lot of hair on that dog, too, to get wet.
I think he's an Irish wolfhound.
She needs a towel by the door to get him dry and stuff.
So we have a dead body. Yay! Jim's dead. Somebody's died.
Who is... Okay. Jim is the other extremely nice person in this episode. Yes.
He's a peeping Tom and a voyeur.
Yes.
Semi-stalker.
But when faced with blackmail, he does the right thing.
That's right.
If you're ever faced with blackmail, and we learned this from the master blackmailer in Sherlock Holmes.
I thought you were going to say from experience.
No. Shh, we don't talk about that.
You just say, go ahead.
You just say, go ahead.
I'll tell everybody before you can.
I'll tell everybody before you can.
Yeah, and then you can't hold it against me.
They steal all the blackmailer's energy.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what he does. He goes, go ahead and tell people. And I'll just be like, you blackmailed me.
Yeah. Who's worse?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a pretty lady.
Yeah.
So
he gets his throat slit.
Yes. And then there's all this stupid stuff about...
Oh, my God. My notes are bad.
About Justin, Justin's in love with Connie, but Lawrence is trying to get her in the sack, and they get jealous of each other.
I have the following note. Justin's big yellow balls. So shy and nervous.
The balls are shy and nervous? Is that why they're huddled in a pile over by the... don't notice us.
I can't let her know that I have 3 giant yellow balls.
Even though she has to pass them to go to work every day. Those aren't mine. They're not mine. I don't know who left those there.
Lawrence Mann is certainly on the make.
Lawrence, it's like,
First of all,
which one of these things is not like the other?
Everyone
It's
would
Lawrence.
call him Larry. They would.
Larry Man.
They would call him Larry Man.
Larry Man, the handyman. Because he is handy man, M-A-N-N. Oh, so clever.
Honestly, he's very clever.
He wears an earring. He wears a gold chain.
Yep.
He wears a Peaky Blinders hat. He wears 2 or 3 T-shirts stacked on top of each other at all times.
I wonder.
He keeps wine in his toolbox.
I don't. Okay, we'll get to the wine because that's a problem. But I wonder if there must be a union of builders in England. Why they have not sued this show? Because no builder in this show is reputable, does a good job, is
It's a trope.
not after your wife.
Yeah. Well, and as a handyman, Lawrence is kind of in a different category. So he, like, for example, he replaces Connie's locks.
Yeah.
If he is a qualified locksmith,
Yes.
then there are laws that apply to him so for example, you can ask a locksmith to be the keeper of a key for you.
Yes.
Yeah. So kind of like being a notary, like you're held to an ethical standard as a locksmith.
Yeah.
That's really high. And you can get in big trouble if you don't follow those rules. I'm kind of surprised that Lawrence would have passed that standard because he seems a bit skeezy.
A bit? My toolbox is also a cooler.
I bet you he grew up in Coston.
Yeah, I bet.
On the mean streets of Coston.
The mean streets of Coston.
His toolbox not a cooler because it's a red wine. It doesn't have to be cold. It's a Rioja. It's red.
It's not enough to put in 2 adults to make them so drunk that they don't know what's going on.
I think there was a backup bottle in the truck because there's more than one bottle on the coffee table afterward. Doesn't matter. He gets killed.
Yep. So with all her money, Connie wants to build an extension.
The average salary for a UK primary school teacher is £31,000 a year.
Yep.
And not only did she buy that house,
Yep.
but she's going to double the size of it with an extension.
Well, first of all, it's going to disrupt the lovely garden. Barnaby calls that a lovely garden with a straight face.
It goes on forever. There's a summer house back there somewhere.
There's 3 beds and 2 plants in each.
I know, but
That's not a lovely garden.
but it's grass and it's hers. So it's lovely because when you live somewhere like that, having a big garden is kind of rare, right? You live in town, your house is on the village square and you have a big backyard like that. That's a big deal.
Okay.
All the more reason why she could never afford this house.
I guess not.
Now, I've got to ask our listeners to help us with something. When Barnaby and Jones go to the Richardson house, this is when they go there and Heather, the strangely named maid.
What is up with Heather?
She's weird. No, Jennifer. Jennifer or Heather? So the first time that Barnaby and Jones go to the Richardson house, this is when the housekeeper leads them to Zuki and Howard, and they're having the argument.
Yes.
In that scene, okay, before they get to the room where they're having the argument, they come through a hallway. When they come through the hallway, you can see the hallway through the door.
Yes.
And the walls are painted with hieroglyphics.
Which is interesting.
Like the inside of an Egyptian tomb. I mean, like life-size hieroglyphics. This is not something they would have added for the show.
No.
Those are there in that house, whichever house that is. I looked all over the place trying to find a UK country estate with hieroglyphics painted in the hallway. I couldn't find anything.
There's a story there.
Oh, yeah, I want to know.
I know.
Who does that? That's kind of cool, but I'd never seen it before. Anyway, sorry. Sidetracked.
So Larry goes over, completely lies about Justin and his big yellow balls.
Are you just going to call Lawrence Larry now? We're
Yes.
supposed to keep up with you? Okay.
Okay. And brings out the wine and then dies.
I got to stay the night because I'm too drunk.
And she finds him.
You can sleep in the summer house.
Oh my God.
It's 5 miles behind my house
Oh
through
my
the
God.
dandelions.
Oh my God.
She says later that Lawrence told her he knew, she being Connie. Connie says, Lawrence knew I couldn't have killed Jim because he said he knew who the real killer was.
Yes. He says that verbatim, that we don't see him saying that.
Right.
Okay.
Welcome to Sarah's Plot Hole Corner.
Okay, we're back in the corner.
How does Lawrence know anything.
Okay. Lawrence knows because Jim tells him.
How can Jim tell Lawrence who killed Jim? He's dead.
No, I think...
Is it the ghost of Jim? Oh, Larry, Howard killed me.
You want some wine? No, I think Jim tells Larry that Richardson's trying to blackmail him.
Why would he tell Larry that?
Because he's a good person.
Who would know better than to confide in Lawrence, who is the skis of the village?
No.
He would not do that.
No, he did that, and that scene was cut.
The scene where Crazy Brow Jim, the head of the village council, and Skeezy Larry, the handyman, are hanging out, having an intimate conversation, and Jim bears his soul about having a compulsion towards being a peeping Tom and being blackmailed about it.
It's like you were there.
You're not really out of that corner. I'll let you, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
It's completely unknown how Lawrence finds out. And it's implied that Lawrence is blackmailing Richardson, which we never seen a scene of either.
And we don't know why he would be doing it.
No. Okay. I know why he would
Over what? How did he know?
Yeah. He would be doing it. If he had something on somebody, I don't think he would stop at not blackmailing them.
No, I believe he would blackmail somebody.
Yes.
He's
We just don't know how he got the information.
Yeah. And it's important because otherwise, why kill him?
If you start knocking the cards down at the bottom, the whole thing is going to fall apart.
I imagine my plot hole corner like a penalty box at the corner of a roller skating rink.
Yep.
And this roller skating rink has lots of corners. Like,
Yes,
it's more than 4 corners here. Okay. So, yes, before he dies, Lawrence does the lying thing to Connie about Justin.
Yes.
There's this soap opera thing.
Yes.
Well, I heard that he said that he could have his house back because you were so in love with him, and which the whole purpose of all of that is to make her upset with Justin so she can pretend to be upset with him so they don't have to get together right away. It's like a romance novel plot. But for me, the whole purpose of that lie is so that Connie later can say, I've never gagged for anything in my life, which is awesome.
The line of the episode. I've never gagged for anything.
No, she's storming. She's like, I've never gagged for anything in my life. How could he say that to me? Then Zuki makes the round of reclaiming tickets from old people. Here, you give me your tickets. You're old and you're broke. And
you
so
have a gnome
you're not
and
the
a
right
bridge
person.
in your front yard. Mm-hmm. So you're not the right kind of people.
They have a charming little garden. They're nice people. They've always been there. She takes their tickets. And eventually she makes the whole event so unattractive that people are like, here, take them.
Now,
Strouds are like, we don't want to go anyway. Take the tickets.
Wait a minute. They have a top DJ, and I never got a call.
Top DJ kind of person.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't even know what a DJ is.
Yeah. Okay. It's sunny, so it's daytime, and we're at the scene of the crime.
And Connie's remembering somebody going, kill him.
Yes.
Kill him.
Oh, no, this is at night of the scene of the crime.
Yes.
Okay. I said this to you before the episode, and you said you had an explanation, but I don't have an explanation of this.
All right.
George's dudes in bunny suits, so the people who are on the forensic team, are all over the summer house and the yard twice now. Mm-hmm. Twice.
Right.
Barnaby walks in about 15 minutes in the episode.
All right. Go on.
They're all over the house.
Yes.
This is the second time they've been all over the house.
Yes.
Later in the episode, Barnaby walks into the house and in 5 minutes figures out the whole electronics plot. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they?
Because they didn't have DC Stevens' gadget and they weren't looking for that.
How could you not see it? It's got wiring all over the house.
No, it doesn't. The wiring is just from the hi-fi to the speakers that are right there.
Plus,
those wires are supposed to be there.
There's the giant tower outside. There's the only way they could have gotten the radio signals to Richardson's house, wherever that is.
No, I've got no problem with the crime scene investigators.
No, I think they would have found it.
They're going to take her hi-fi apart and her clock radio apart? No. Why would they even remotely suspect that somebody's trying to put subliminal messages in her mind while she's sleeping?
Because it's a ludicrous plot point.
When somebody has been killed outside or in her shed,
That's okay.
Let's go
Wait a
inside
minute.
and take all of her hi-fis apart and look inside for bugs.
Wait a minute.
She's not a Russian spy.
Wait a minute. First of all, the summer house is no shed. It has
a porch.
a couch.
I know. It's a summer house.
Second of all, I still think they would have found it. I'm sorry.
Why? Why would they start taking her radios apart?
I just think they would have. They would have found something.
What?
They would have found some wire.
I do not accept that.
Yeah.
Everything. Now, it's
Because
implausible.
they go over your house with a fine-tooth comb.
It's implausible that those devices would ever work, that it's a chip with a speaker and a amp on it or something. I know. But the way the way that they're depicted, they don't have wires leading anywhere outside the device that they're hidden in. Georgie's team is not going to go in and take every electronic apart for no reason at all. There's no reason for them to suspect that's going on.
I thought they would do better.
Are you just disappointed in Georgie's team?
I am. They should have found them on the first night. Mrs. Stroud has really nice PJs.
She does.
She does.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, well...
Tom keeps his folded under his pillow.
Oh, we see Tom's naked chest in this episode.
It's not the first time.
Yeah.
But when he's putting on his PJs, he gets them out from under his pillow. He's so neat and tidy.
He is very neat and tidy. This is the first time that we have seen the following thing in an episode of Midsomer. Okay? Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. A traffic jam in a village.
Only because there are two uppity ladies holding it up. They're just so rude.
Like, okay, I'm Canadian. I realize that. I live in America. I realize that. But that sort of behavior is the thing that, like...
Oh,
I had to
revolting.
turn off the episode and go breathe deeply for a little while because of it.
It bothered you so much.
It bothers me so much.
I couldn't imagine holding up traffic like that just to chat for 5 seconds. As soon as somebody else came along, I would move. Just immediately. But not Zuki. And not Jane.
Okay, now we have actually gotten to the point where it's upsetting me. So
sorry, I didn't know it was triggering for people to hold up traffic.
Oh my God. Oh, I hate it so much. It's so selfish.
Well, let's talk about the Richardson's little dog who finds knives and runs around with them.
Okay, I don't think he finds the knife. I think...
You think Howard leads him to it?
Howard leads him to it because... This is a plant. The knife is clearly a plant.
Welcome to another Sarah's Plot Hole Corner.
Okay.
The knife has Lawrence's blood on it.
Yes.
As well as, or no, Jim's blood on it, or maybe both. I don't know. And Connie's fingerprints.
Yes.
Later, when Barnaby is unpacking the motive and the how and the why and the when, he just... casually tosses out that Howard got Connie's fingerprints on the knife somehow.
Yes.
And then he moves on.
Yes, he went back into the house that he has no key for, but she leaves the doors open.
No, he got the key from Lawrence's body.
That's true. He got the key from Lawrence's body. Goes back in the house to the sleepwalking woman who wakes up at the sound of a creaking
Yeah.
door. Takes her sleepy hand, because she's drunk, right? And puts it on the knife.
Oh. No.
Yeah, we don't see a reenactment of it because the actors refuse to do it.
I thought maybe he's smart and he used a knife that was already Connie's, but he couldn't have because he kills Jim impromptu.
Nope.
So there's no way he went into Connie's house and got the knife. And okay. And while we're on the subject of Howard getting into Connie's house, he had a key to the old lock, and that's how he got in and put these little devices everywhere.
I guess. Where was she when this happened?
He gets the new key from Lawrence.
Yeah.
Right? But how did he have the old key?
I don't know.
Well, I looked into this transferring of fingerprints because I thought maybe he found her fingerprints somewhere in the house, lifted them, and put them on the knife. Right? You've seen that in mystery shows, right?
I don't think that's possible in reality.
It actually is.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay.
And the name for people who study fingerprints, the term for the study of fingerprints is dactyloscopy.
Oh, that's a cool word.
It means finger show in Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Dactyloscopy.
Oh.
So I read this article from the 1937 Journal of Criminal Law in the police science section that they used to have, which is awesome.
So this is the latest research.
Oh yes. Yes. in Fingerprint Forgery, Transferring Latent Fingerprints by William H. Harper.
Okay.
1937. But he actually did a really cool thing. What he did was a comparison of fingerprints lifted or forged in various ways. And then he looked at them under microscopes, which people weren't doing then.
So he was scientific.
He was scientific about it to see which method would get the best results, and those best results if they would actually fool anybody into thinking that they were real fingerprints.
And what did he come up with?
And what he found was the most convincing way to do it was to lift an actual fingerprint. So it's the sebum, the oil from your skin that makes the pattern, that mimics the ridges on your finger. You lift it with something like transparent tape.
Yep. Sticky tape.
And apply it to another surface. Don't rub it with your finger to adhere it, right? You rub it with an object, preferably something soft, and then lift it off. And if there was sufficient strength to the original fingerprint, the transfer will be convincing.
Oh.
Unless you looked at it through a microscope.
Oh.
If you look at it extremely close, you
would see particles of the sticky tape, wouldn't you?
Not necessarily, but you see gaps in the ridges.
Which are not possible.
Well, and they're kind of in signature spots because of the way the tape picks it up and lays it back down again. Yeah. So it's a pattern that you can start to see as you look at these, that he calls them forged fingerprints.
I wonder if they do a forensic test to that in forensic school.
Well, now they probably have software that just picks it up. And they probably look at all fingerprints under a microscope at some point.
I would think so.
But in the 1930s, that wasn't standard. So you would just see the fingerprint, you'd match it, it'd be right, and that would be it.
Wow. But he takes her hand and puts it on. Remember in the flashback? Oh, wait, they didn't have that. Never mind.
So Howard must be up to date on the latest 1930s forensic science.
Well, I am up to date
transferred her fingerprints
on another thing, which is marquees, which for our American audience are tents.
We call them marquees too.
You do?
Yeah, if it's for an event, we call them marquees.
Never heard that term before this episode.
A tent is like a pup tent. It's like a camping thing. A marquee is a larger temporary enclosure.
Well, the truck that drives up has topsmarquees.co.uk. That's a real website.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they don't say on their website, featured in Midsomer Murders, like I would have.
Of course.
Their website hasn't been updated in like 5 years, but they're still...
They rent marquees.
Yep.
They rent tents.
Maidenhead, Windsor, Reading, and High Wycombe.
Ah. So which one would have been the closest to where Midsomer is supposed to be?
Probably maybe Windsor, maybe?
All I know is Zuki must be the worst customer to deal with ever. She's not happy with anything.
No. And then, did you notice? It's a little thing, but they use a zooming car to change the scene. This car zooms by.
Oh, yeah. The car goes by. I'm with you. To switch from one scene to another.
Then maybe Mel is Justin's ex-girlfriend.
Okay, we haven't mentioned Mel yet.
Okay. So we have a problem.
The listeners have no idea what we're talking about.
Okay, so this is the problem. We are keen observers of this television show.
We are?
We are. So we go through the cast lists, both on different wikis and on IMDb.
Even the extras.
Yeah.
If they're named in the credits, we look into them.
Yep.
And there is an actress in this episode whose name is Deborah Moore.
Okay, there is an actress listed for this episode.
Yes. Her name is Deborah Moore, and
Yes.
she is an actual actress
Yes.
who has other roles to her
She
credits.
is Roger Moore's daughter.
She is?
Yes.
Oh.
I think so.
I didn't know that.
I think she's Roger Moore's
Well,
daughter.
who she is isn't the mystery. The mystery is who she plays in this episode because
Mel.
she's credited as Mel.
So she's either one of two people, I think, which is either she's the sister with the kids that the extension is for. By the way, that is the nicest freaking extension ever.
Yeah.
It's another house.
And like we're supposed to see her in a scene and it got cut or something.
Something. Or she's the Justin's old girlfriend.
But that's Claire. Her name is Claire.
That's right. She's Claire.
So I don't know who Mel is.
Yeah, I don't know who.
I even searched the script for the episode. I couldn't find the name Mel.
Do you know who Mel is? We need a lost poster on the current investigations for Mel.
Have you seen this character? Her name is Mel. She's supposedly in this episode, but we can't find her anywhere. I love when Joyce and Tom are in bed and she's putting the earplugs in and he pretends to talk to her and he speaks silently. He yanks her chain. I thought that was so funny.
Oh, it's super good.
So Connie decides that she must be the killer. It's her.
Yeah.
She's sleepwalking and she's killing people because she's having bad dreams and she's hearing voices saying, kill him, kill him,
And
kill him.
this sleepwalking thing comes in right at the very end of this episode, that she sleepwalks and gets in bed with Justin, which, like, not even a skeezy boyfriend would play that role.
No.
I'm sleepwalking. I have to get into bed with you.
She goes from being kissy-kissy to screaming and hitting him.
She bloodies his nose.
Yeah.
He's bleeding.
It's serious. But he does the right thing trying to wake her up.
He sleeps in the
guest
bed,
room.
The guest room. He's a gentleman. He says he's going to go. He decides to stay. It's a very good reason. He gets all undressed and gets in the bed, and suddenly she's there all creepy. And like, Justin is the unsung hero of the episode, because the other thing is they're all like, oh, well, Justin wants the house back. Obviously, he killed his ex-girlfriend.
No.
Why?
Maybe she just moved away.
Why on earth would you jump to that conclusion? And Justin's ex-girlfriend's like, no, we just grew apart. He never touched me at all.
He was actually almost too nice.
He's a super nice boy.
Justin Hooper is played by Bertie Carvel, sorry. Did he remind you of anybody?
He does. He reminds me of some other actor.
Paul Rudd. I think he looks like Paul Rudd.
He's a little Paul Ruddy.
He played Ant-Man, if you're not familiar with Paul. But Bertie Carvel is in Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and he plays Jonathan Strange.
That's right.
If you've never read the book or seen the show, one or the other, both, whatever, they're both great. It's awesome.
Yep.
It's a good story. But you just hinted at another plot hole.
Okay.
Why does Imogen deny knowing Claire?
I don't know.
What is her point in doing that?
Okay. Why does Imogen do anything in this episode? She is not
Why is she in it?
She is not needed in this episode at all.
I think she might have been there originally as a red herring because she's slightly creepy and secretive, and she may have had like a jealousy motive maybe at some point. That could have worked. They could have done something with that, but they didn't, but they kept the character.
And the moment...
I think her reason for being got revised out at some point in the script.
The moment in which she could have easily hurt Connie Bishop, when she says, when her mom is like, no, Larry said that at the pub,
not Justin.
And she calls Imogen. Imogen could have come in and totally gaslit her right there. And she would have been freaking out. But she's like, oh, no, Justin loves you.
Yeah.
We totally agree on this.
Yeah.
She does the right thing. So why is Imogen there? Her mother could have done every part of that, except for the Nymphette 99 thing.
Which is unimportant.
It's like this episode was written by committee.
Written by, like, Foam Tag?
Yeah, kind of.
When Connie is screaming at the very beginning of the episode, Justin is one of the men that runs to her aid. On foot, half-dressed, jammies, runs to her aid. But then she invites him to her house for dinner, and then he stays the night, and he arrives in his car.
The green gets longer at night.
So he lives so close he can go there in his pajamas and hear her while he's sleeping, but just far enough to drive there for dinner.
Yeah. You answered your own plot point.
Maybe it's a one-way road between their houses and it's a long path around. So if you're in a car, you got to go further. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Maybe Zukie and her friend have caused another traffic jam and he needed to go around the long way.
Instead of just going by foot from his house, which is in screaming distance.
Yes.
Okay. I'm with you. Not, but okay.
He had other places to go earlier.
Yeah, he drove out of town to get the flowers and then decided to just park his car at her house instead of at his house, which is like 2 doors down.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Did you notice how strange Joyce's bedside cabinets are?
What is up with them?
It's like they're random cabinets just stacked on top of each other. They're different depths, different heights, different colors, but they look built in. I don't understand them.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Why would the Barnabys not turn the phone off at night?
Because he has to answer the phone.
But why would they not call his cell?
Because his cell is plugged in downstairs. I don't know. Maybe they did, and he doesn't answer it, so they call his house.
Maybe it's in
because he's sleeping.
It's in Justin's house.
Maybe it is currently inside Connie's record player.
Barnaby's
and George
a
should have
bull.
found it, according to you.
Barnaby's a bull in the china shop when he gets back.
He's getting dressed in the dark, putting his pajamas on in the dark.
Got that big bare chest there. So then Barnaby explains this whole somnambulism thing, which comes out of nowhere.
Well, it's Connie's idea.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's having nightmares. She thinks that she might be the killer. She's not happy about it.
Yes.
It's a real defense. It's been used many times.
So Barnaby lists a guy. His name is Albert Tyrell, who said, I accidentally set fire to this place where my hoochie mama on the side lives.
Mistress.
A lady of the night.
A prostitute.
Yes.
He burned a brothel to the ground.
Yes.
Did he get away with it?
I don't know. I didn't look in. I just know that he did it. I did find out that his entire defense was supported scientifically by a friend of Daniel Webster.
The guy who wrote the dictionary.
Yeah.
Wow. That's an early case.
Yep.
It's not, it's not the best known.
What's
the
the
most
best known?
infamous case of somnambulism as a homicide defense.
Okay.
And I bet you've heard of this story. It's from 1887. And there was a French detective. His name was Robert Ledru.
Okay.
He was 35, but he was a known detective in France.
Okay.
Police detective. He was a big deal. Okay.
Yep.
He goes to the seashore with his family for a vacation. And while he's there, there's a murder. This could come from a novel.
Yeah.
Since he's a bigwig in the big city, detective-wise, the local cops ask him to come and help.
Yeah.
Solve this murder. So this man was murdered on the beach. His name was Andre Monet. He had a small business in Paris. He was on a little modest vacation. You know, he there's no motive. He's not a bigwig, right?
Yep.
But Ledru finds footprints on the beach near the body, which the other police have already dismissed because they're stocking feet. They're like, there's no shoe print. We can't do anything with those. But Ledru notices there's something distinctive about the footprints. One of the feet is missing a toe.
Okay.
Ledru is missing a toe.
Uh-oh. I did it.
He's shot with a Luger. Ledru has a Luger.
Okay.
So Ledru takes the cartridge they found that was the bullet that killed Monet,
Yep.
takes his gun back to his hotel room, shoots into his own bed to muffle the sound, compares the shell casings, sees that they're identical, and turns himself in. I did it. In my sleep, I did it.
Did he get off?
So he convinced authorities that it was him. He had all the evidence.
Yeah.
And from that day until his death, 50 years later, he was kept in a secluded farmhouse outside Paris, always overseen by armed personnel and doctors.
Wow.
So they didn't actually convict him because he confessed, so they didn't have to go to court. So they kind of settled out of court.
But he had no reason to kill this guy.
No motive, nothing. But he was a known sleepwalker.
That's so weird.
So he solved his own case.
That's weird. That is a novel.
Yeah. And it's a true story. 1887, Robert Ledru. There is a movie about it. But that was incredible to me. Like, wow, missing a toe. Figured it out it was him. So we're getting to the bottom of it, right?
Yeah.
So Connie is being manipulated by something going on in the house. Barnaby picks that out by remembering the sounds that she says she hears and when she hears them. Because she's worried that she's the killer, she's voluntarily asked for them to lock her up overnight to keep her safe and keep other people safe. In the meantime, Barnaby and Jones are creeping around her house, checking things out. He picks up on the sounds and he thinks, that would be a good way for this to have happened. Maybe somebody's manipulating her. And then DC Stevens shows up with her magic device.
Okay, technology doesn't work like this. The rest of the episode, that's all I'm going to say. No.
Why not? I mean, there's bug sweepers that work that way.
There is a bug sweeper that works that way, but bug sweepers are easily overcome by placing so a bug sweeper works that the frequency emitted by the thing,
The device.
because it has to be powered,
Right.
is different than normal frequencies.
Right.
Well, all good bugs have frequencies that are like blenders or, other
Yeah.
things in the house. So they're not detectable that way.
Huh. Well, Stevens has a better gizmo than we know about then. Because she picks them up.
She has an amazing gizmo. But what the problem I have is the technology of getting the audio to and from, because he gets audio and video to and from that house.
Right. He's transmitting and listening.
And video.
Yep.
From his own house. Without any, they just don't say how that's done.
The video from his own house is easy. He's got a webcam that is triggered by somebody using his computer.
Yeah.
It triggers an app on his smartphone.
Yep.
That I can explain. The next plot hole is that there is no explanation of once Barnaby and Jones and Stevens find the bugs, how they know they lead to Richardson's house.
The only way.
Because anybody could have placed them.
Yeah.
Lawrence could have done it.
They could have found a wire on the floor that led to the... at least that would have...
No, it's all wireless.
No, it's all wireless. The only explanation is he's an electronic genius.
He's a boffin.
They mentioned that earlier.
Then they are suddenly in the Richardson home.
Yeah, they enter the Richardson's home.
Without a warrant
On
or whatever.
Frobisher night, without a warrant, and the maid is elsewhere.
Wouldn't you be? If
I would.
Zuki and Howard were out for the night, wouldn't you be out partying, enjoying your freedom?
Yes.
I wouldn't work for her for $1 million a year.
No. So yeah, it is a miracle that any of the evidence they find is of any use at all.
Well, they find the smoking gun software
Yes.
that I don't understand.
Okay. So the software...
I mean, I understand the basics of it. It's a sound library, and he's transmitting these sounds wirelessly to the speakers in her house and playing the sounds.
Yes.
What I don't understand are the sound effects that are on the list.
No.
Because there is
The following.
human scream male,
Yes.
human scream female,
Yes.
human scream baby,
Yeah.
and human scream crown.
I know exactly why all those things are there.
What's crown?
I don't know what crown is.
Well, that's the thing I don't understand.
Okay. what they've done is
It's a sample library,
It's a
right?
sample
Yeah.
library that the sound guy was like, oh, put these things
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
But crown, is it the queen yelling?
I guess.
We are not amused.
I guess.
I didn't understand that. And he's also lost a whole bunch of money spread betting.
Because they know that because he has his spread betting thing open, his trading software.
He just keeps the spreadsheet of all of his losses open on his desktop all the time.
All the time.
Do you know what spread betting is?
No. What is spread betting?
Well,
Does it involve Reddit?
Kind of. That's a reference to the GameStop
stuff of
stock
this week.
issues that have come up this week. But so you might have heard about betting on a spread in sports betting.
Yes.
And that
where
is
you
something
say,
different.
My team is going to beat your team by a certain amount of points.
Or the losing team is going to lose by less than what people predict they're going to lose by, or they
Yes.
win. And so, yeah, you're betting on basically the distance between the scores and who's on top and who's on bottom.
Which is big for things like basketball and football where there's a lot of points, but not big for things like soccer and hockey where there isn't a lot of points.
Exactly. Yes. So that's point spread betting, and that's different than what Howard Richardson is doing.
What is Howard Richardson?
What he's doing is a stock market spread.
Okay.
And so spread bets are bets placed on a financial market without actually buying the stocks.
Okay.
So you don't actually buy any stocks. So when you place spread bets in the stock market, you're not actually buying a stock.
No.
What you're doing is placing investments on the chance that stocks will move in a certain direction up or down.
Yes.
And when we're talking about the GameStop issue, those short sells, that's saying I'm betting the stock is going to go down to this amount, and when it gets to that amount, I'm going to buy it or sell it or do something, right?
Yes.
But in spread betting, you never buy or sell anything.
You're just, it's a side bet.
Yeah, it's a side bet.
Yeah.
Which is why it's illegal in the United States.
I'm sure
you can't do spread betting on the stock market in the U.S. But in the UK, at least at the time that this script was written, the laws have changed a little bit since then, but in boring ways I won't explain. But in Britain, at this point, it was a tax-free bet.
Oh my gosh.
You paid no taxes on the money that you won, and there usually wasn't even a commission to be paid.
Oh, so no wonder he's doing it.
Yeah, because it's a way to make money off the stock market that means that you keep more of the money that you make because you're not paying a stock trader a commission. You're not paying taxes on the money because it's kind of black market tax. I mean, it's
weird.
Black market stock, betting sort of. At least until the early 2000s, it wasn't really seen all that bad in the UK. And the other advantage, besides the tax-free, commission-free thing, is that it's something you can do whether the stock market is really up or really down. There's money to be made no matter whether it's a bull or a bear market.
Yeah.
So really desperate people do spread bets.
Yeah.
Which is why Howard's doing it, right?
Okay.
He is broke.
I have another question about Howard.
Okay.
There's a problem with the legality of them getting into the house.
Yes.
There's a problem with how the data is transferred to and from his house.
Yes.
There's a problem with figuring out how they know it's his house that has the computer stuff
Yes.
in it. All that is problematic. But I have a bigger problem.
Okay.
What was his job?
He did something in electronics. He was an engineer or something.
He was a
Electronics engineer.
like a boffin.
Yeah.
Like he's a well knowledgeable person.
Yes.
Right.
Like a lab scientist. Yes.
He's knowledgeable enough to build this wireless contraption
Right.
to send audio, right? Would he not have a password on his computer?
He may have, but DC Stevens is quite the boffin herself. And so
That's
she
true.
probably bypassed it with some super secret cop code that only she knows about.
Zuki sucks 15.
I have to say the end of this is very satisfying, though. The fact that they confront Howard at Frobisher Night in front of everybody. And one of the fancy people has just made a joke about, are you about to admit that you're the murderer?
He goes, I have a confession. And somebody goes, oh, you're the murderer, are you? And everybody laughs.
And he's like,
you're
no, really, I am.
No, I am the murderer.
He's like, I'm not going to see you for a while. There's going to be some debts.
The people are coming for the house.
They're
too.
probably going to come take the house any minute. Sorry. Bye.
Goodbye.
I'm off to prison.
Think about it. He's off to prison. He has no money problems anymore. He has no Zuki problems anymore.
He can just go cultivate his eyebrows in peace.
Yeah. I think he kind of wins at the end.
Yeah, except that he killed two people.
No, but...
Two people who weren't bad.
No, well, Larry.
I'm not going to hang out with Larry, but he didn't deserve to die.
No, he didn't. And cuts their throat, which the second murder is awfully bloody.
He definitely would have had blood on his slicker.
But
it's pouring down rain, so it's fine. It gets washed away, remember?
Yep. It went well. It was a record night. So, yeah, they do this weird thing where, and I don't know how this works because I'm not a cop. As a cop, I would want to try to keep the world of my cophood away from my family. But Joyce always wants to know what's going on. And he tells her this stuff that he has no business telling her.
Yes and no. I mean...
But it's drama.
But wouldn't you do that?
Well, it gets away from yet another interrogation scene at the end of an episode.
And you and I are both people who don't know what they think until they hear what they say.
Yeah.
Like you have to talk through things as you're figuring them out. And that's been beneficial to Tom in many situations where Joyce hasn't given him any information, but he also knows that she's a valuable source of information and he trusts her. So he tells her about stuff.
Yeah.
So I understand. And it is a useful mechanic for us as viewers because we get to understand what happened.
Yes.
Right? Without having
and
to see
now
it all.
Joyce will get a decent night's sleep.
Maybe.
And that is the great and the good.
Nice corpse. We've got two corpses.
Best corpse is either
Jim
Lawrence
or Larry.
I gotta go with Larry. He's
Yeah, I do
wide open. There's a prosthetic on his neck.
His neck does move a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's all right with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. After the credits,
Okay. So after the credits, Connie and Justin's big yellow balls get together and are happy.
yeah, I think so.
I think absolutely. Mrs. Stroud and Imogen are happy.
Yeah.
Because I think probably Miss Stroud is so pissed off at all of them They took away Meals on Wheels money. Like,
That's right out.
that's right
Just
out.
don't do that.
They probably take over Frobisher night.
I would think so.
Zuki, wow. That's,
Zuki's going to be living in her friend's summer house.
yep. Zuki has some tough nights ahead of her. Mm-hmm. Vince still runs the pub.
Yeah.
And the Fullers, do you remember the Fullers?
The Fullers are the couple that Zuki asked to give up their tickets.
Yes, and Mr. Fuller is full of interesting village gossip.
Oh, yes. And has a nice little front garden with a gnome in it.
They're like happy that they're not Mel.
Now, the housekeeper that works at the Richardsons is going to have to find a different job.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's going to mind that.
But really, Jim is a loss and Lawrence is a loss. But really, Badger's Drift goes on. It's two people, man. There's no incest. There's no...
But Mark, what is Mel going to do?
I don't know what Mel is going to do. Because I don't know who Mel is.
Except that she's played by James Bond's daughter. Are you ready for horrible movies?
Okay, I'm ready for horrible movies.
This movie is terrible. I bet Mark's seen it.
The reason why Mel is important in this episode is not only because she's a mystery, but also because, man, has she been in some bad movies.
Yeah, she is definitely Roger Moore's daughter.
Okay, her name is Deborah Moore.
Yep.
And she is in 2 of this week's 3 horrible movies I bet you've seen.
Okay, I've lost all confidence I can figure this out, but hit me up.
I've got hope for you.
Okay.
Okay. This is a 1988 movie.
Okay.
And Deborah Moore is in it. She
Okay.
plays the mysterious Mel in this Midsomer.
Okay.
An author discovers a UFO in the Colombian jungle. When he tries to spread the word, he earns more than the usual disbelief. Suddenly, he's hunted by almost every organization, like the CIA, the KGB, the mob, Nazis, and even extraterrestrials. Those ETs obviously do not want to phone home.
Is this movie called Bullseye?
No.
I don't know what this movie is.
It's called Top Line,
Top Line.
1988.
Never heard of it.
Okay. One for me. It looks absolutely wackadoodle.
Bonkers.
All right. Second movie, 1985. Also, Deborah Moore is in this one, The Mysterious Mel. After civilization is wiped out by a nuclear war, an adventurer leads a group of wanderers on a search for the fabled Mountain of Life. Along the way, they encounter pygmy tribes, bands of savage outlaws, and a tribe of Amazon women.
Is this Cherry 3000?
No. I can see why you would have guessed that. 1985. It's Warriors of the Apocalypse.
No, never heard of that movie either.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. The third one I've got faith in. I'm betting on you. If you were a spread, I'd be betting on your part of the spread.
Completely knackered at this.
I'm going to get you back here, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to build up the confidence. This is a
Okay.
1978 movie.
Okay.
And Tim Wilton is in it. He played Jim Hanley, the
Okay.
first murder victim in this episode of Midsomer.
Okay.
A young aristocrat engages a nanny to look after his children while he pursues a life of debauchery with his mistress. He entrusts the running of the household to his menacing butler, who scorns his master's progressive attitudes and plots to take control. The butler uses dark magic against the nanny. The butler then passes evil visions onto the aristocrat, whose mind is broken when he pictures the butler sacrificing his son to Satan.
Why have I not seen this movie?
It stars Oliver Reed and Derek Jacobi.
Oh my God, why have I not seen this movie?
It's called Blue Blood, 1978.
Oh, I need to see
Oliver
this.
Reed plays the evil butler, and Derek Jacobi is the aristocrat.
I need to see that movie today. I need to see that.
I thought for
Reed
sure you
is-
guessed that
yeah.
one.
Oliver Reed is fantastic.
Apparently, he is quite good at being a satanic butler, I'm
Well,
sure.
Yeah.
And Derek Jacobi has some incredible lines. I just watched a couple of clips. Derek Jacobi is an incredible actor anyway, but he is really over the top in this. He's young,
Yeah.
super handsome and debonair, and way over the top.
Oh,
and random music in this movie, too.
Okay.
It's got a lot of weird stuff going on.
I'll put it on our Amazon list. and
Blue Blood from 1978.
There's a hockey game on tonight, but maybe tomorrow night we'll watch some Blue Blood.
I feel bad that I got 3 out of 3 this week. You've made me feel guilty for
I suck
for
at this
beating
game
you.
anymore.
But Wow. Yeah. If you got the Google open, look up Blue Blood with Oliver Reed from 1978 and just watch a clip. Wow.
Oliver Reed, famous for being in not only Pinball Wizard, but also The Devils that we've mentioned several times.
About the nuns in the, yeah. But he
Who
wasn't,
directed that movie?
I couldn't tell you. It's called Blue Blood. But wasn't he also like a notorious alcoholic in his career? And so he was drunk in most of his roles.
Oh, completely.
Because he was drinking off set all the time, which is sad for him as a man. It's sad that he was afflicted with that, but it does add a little bit to some of his roles that's kind of unexpected.
Oh, the poster is...
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, he has quite the stash in this movie, too.
Yes. So that is the great and the good. Next week, we embark on season 13.
The last Barnaby season. Season 13.
And what is the first episode?
Made to Measure Murders with the tailor.
Yes.
Yes.
Where Joyce goes to get her fancy coat.
Yes.
Remember...
And there's discussion of tartans.
Yes. Remember, as we get closer to the last Tom episode, we'd love to know your favorite Tom Barnaby moments. So send us an email, record some audio for us and send it along, however you want to let us know.
Yep.
We are going to put together a list of the best Barnaby moments, and if you send us one, we will include yours.
Yep.
All right. Until next time, bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs. So my colonoscopy is a colon show?
Yes.
Okay, we're cutting that.